Hello, everyone. My name is Kelvin Shikuku. I'm scientist with Wildfish based in Penang, Malaysia. Today, I will speak about demand for fish food safety and environmental sustainability certification in Nigeria. And this study was conducted as part of the CGIR research program on fish agri-food systems and with the funding from the Policies, Institutions and Markets CGIR research program. I would like to acknowledge my co-authors in this research, who include Nu Hong Tran, Lauren Pincus, Vivian Hoffman, Shehu Akintola, Fakoya Kafayat, and Karl Johan Lagerqvist. Now, one way to improve fish food safety in developing countries um, is to provide incentive to aquaculture producers to adopt best management practices that can help to produce better quality and safe products. Now, but the question that remains is whether consumer demand for fish food safety certification can actually be harnessed to generate positive returns as incentive to aquaculture producers. And just to motivate the context a little further is that, when we compare, for example, developed and developing markets, we see that foodborne illnesses in developed markets have increased consumers' concern over safety and sustainability of fish production, and that has triggered stringency of government regulations and standards. And because of that, there's increased third-party sustainable certification standards. So in aquaculture, for example, there's the Marine Stewardship Council and many others. In developing countries, however, safety and certification standards can catalyze upgrades to fish production value chains, particularly for export markets. But what we don't know, what we are not sure about, is whether in domestic markets there exists demand for safe and healthy food products, right? So in domestic markets of developing countries. And so the question of whether value chains can be upgraded to provide incentives to producers, therefore remains largely unanswered. In Nigeria, aquaculture has grown tremendously and contributing substantially to poverty reduction and to improve the livelihoods. And the government recognizes the important need to sustain that growth while at the same time minimizing potential health hazards to human beings, increasing confidence of consumers in the products that are being produced, and also enhancing traceability. And so they've developed sort of guidelines to standardize operation of aquaculture producers. But the question again that remains is whether there exists demand, in the market for such safety certified and quality products. And so our objective was to assess consumers' willingness to pay for fish food safety certification. And to address this, we conduct a pre-registered experiment with 200 individual consumers in Lagos State, Nigeria. The experiment follows the Baker-Digrut-Marshak bidding mechanism. And we basically use 8 catfish products where we vary different attributes, including certified versus non-certified, small versus large catfish, or smoked versus live. And we conduct the experiments at the points of purchase of the fish. We randomize the order in which we present the products to the consumers, just to minimize the order effects in our analysis. And also, although we use 8 products in the experiment, only 1 product was actually presented to the consumer for actual purchase, in the event that they won in the bidding experiment. We worked with 10 enumerators organized in pairs of 2. We randomly selected 2 every second potential fish buyer. And before the real experiment, we played a warm-up just to make sure that participants fully understand our experiment. And then after the experiment, we conduct a post-experiment survey, basically to collect additional background information. Now, turning to results, what we see in this figure on this slide is that consumer bids for safety certified fish dominate those for uncertified fish for all types of, for all the certified products and across the different sizes. Now, those results can also be seen on this slide, where we see that bids for certified fish products are substantially greater than those for non-certified fish products, except in the top left quadrant, where the difference is only about 14 naira, and that's not significantly, is not statistically different. Um, and and that's basically for the small live certified product. There seems not to be a positive and significant premium in the market. Now, while these results sort of help us to understand premiums in the markets, they don't necessarily imply a causal effect. And so, for us to check that causal effect, we estimate random efficiency regression model, and on this slide we present the results of those of that estimation procedure. So what we see here is that, again, for all the certified fish products, there seems to be a positive and statistical significant premium for certified fish, except for one product, which is the certified live medium 500 gram of fish. So the small live certified fish doesn't seem to have to sort of attract positive premiums in the market, right? So consumers are only willing to pay about 10 naira on top of what they are willing to pay for the uncertified live medium-sized fish. And so these results basically tell us that there seems to be, yes, positive premiums in the market, but there also exists asymmetry in the value of the certification scheme, so that consumers are willing to pay only for either live large fish or the smoked products, but not for the live certified small fish. And so this also has implication in terms of how certification schemes are designed, suggesting that they need to take into consideration that producers, as specializing in different types of products, that those products will attract different premiums when they go to the, when they are finally supplied into the markets. And so to conclude, basically consumers in Nigeria are willing to pay price premiums for safety certified fish products. The value of fish food safety certification seems to be asymmetric, with consumers only willing to pay for high value fish. Asymmetry in the value of certification potentially implies the need for different schemes, for example, varying complexity and the cost of compliance, and targeted for different types of producers. Thank you very much.